And hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 15 Good Minutes. We only got two guys today, but we're going to carry it because we are the two senior members of this
yes,
group.
Sir.
And Freddie's out sick.
Leave it to the old men to be reliable.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do. We show up. Freddie, get well soon. Charles, I think he's in Indiana. Check in sometime, bro. Let us know how you're doing. Yeah. I can't think of the last time you was on the show, but your seat is still here. And welcome. How you doing, LB? You look like you're not at home. You on the road, huh?
Yes, I'm on the road. I'm in Garner, North Carolina. I came down to visit a friend of mine whose mom is recovering from cancer treatments. And I thought I'd come and give her some comic relief.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what good friends do, man.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So yeah, we don't have a big show today. One of the things we want to do as part of our, get to know your host series. Today, we're just talking kind of lightly about some of the things that we do when we're not doing what we do. So kind of like hobbies, LB, you know what I mean? Like what I want to do today is just take a quick look at when you want to do something that you can get lost in, or several somethings, what are they? What interests you about them? And how long have you been doing them?
Okay. I'll start with the art. So if you're interested, you can go to creationsbylb.com.
We'll put a link in.
Yeah, you can see some of my artwork. I took art in high school and, I kind of drew a lot as kids, but I'm not a quote unquote artist. People say, draw me a picture draw a self-portrait or draw a picture of me. I can't do that kind of stuff. Everything I do is pretty much abstract. I took drafting in high school, so I became pretty good with a T-square and a pencil. Before that got modernized to a computer. So I've always liked, doing stuff like that, just creating, images and whatever. So I guess in the 80s is when I actually started putting that on canvas. I did some for a few years, and then I completely stopped. Didn't do any for almost 20 years. And now I'm back into it, with some life changes, retirement. I got time now, and I really enjoy it. That's where I can lose myself in. And normally when I do that kind of stuff, it's usually at night. I might not start till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Put on some music, make myself a drink, and just, like I say, get lost in that kind of stuff. That's one of the things that I do to, I think to keep myself sane. One of the other things I do is I wash my cars. I have 3 vehicles, and I wash all of them at least once a week.
There you go. Now he's telling his age. See, yes, sir.
Right. I could easily take it up the street to the car wash and and do that. But I can get lost in that just as well. It's for me, it's therapeutic to clean a car, at least my cars. Let me say it that way. Not a car, but my cars. And I like the way they look. I like for them to be clean. I like driving around in a clean car. Nothing perturbs me more than riding around in a dirty car, or have somebody say, I'll drive, and I get in that car and I'm scared to touch anything because it hasn't been washed in no time recently. You know what I mean? Those are those are 2 of the things off the top of my head that I do. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing, and then you can start with yours, is on my website as well, you'll see some photography stuff.
Yeah.
That is something I've discovered as of late. But as of late, I mean, the last couple of years, I guess. Where I live, there's a lot of wildlife. I don't have to go. I could just go on my back deck or backyard, and I can see everything pretty much. Now I've gotten to the point where I enjoy watching the animals. Well, I've always enjoyed watching, but now I actually try and take photos of them and catch all the different things that are happening back there. The babies, I got this season now. I got the little purple. I think they have a name. I'm sorry, I can't call right now. But they just had babies, so I got the babies around. I had baby owls. last year.
Wow.
They've grown up, but they still come back to my yard, so I get to see them every so often. So it's just cool to just sit back there and listen to the birds and watch them interact and chase each other and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some of the things I've seen. I've this one tree a few years ago. There were four adult woodpeckers in
Wow.
the same tree at one time. I've never, it's hard to see one woodpecker. I have four in one tree in my yard, and I stood there for an hour just watching them and taking photos of it. So that's the kind of stuff I find that very relaxing and enjoyable.
I think that's therapeutic too. Now, to a couple of your points, I never really considered um the vehicle stuff a hobby, but it could very well be. I'm the same way. So I come from a place where, as a young adult, we used to get together, me and other guys, and we would get together to do that. We would
Right, exactly. Yeah.
go somewhere and we're doing it. And it's an all day thing and up until about that night. And then
Yeah.
you just go out a little bit,
It Haynes Point.
yeah, exactly. Haynes Point,
Yes.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can get lost in it too. Before we came on air, LB and I were talking about, I just recently traded a vehicle, and it took me a while before I got it on the road. But one of the first things I have to do is I have to condition it. And that's a 3-day process for me. So a deep wash, a deep cleaning of the interior, followed by a hand wax. I have to have that coat of wax on there, and I need to see when water hits it, it just rolls off.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm the same way with the Mustang, the same way with the older car with the VW Beetle. I've always been that way, and I don't rush.
No.
If I have an old day, I can do it. If not, I say, okay, today we're just doing the wash. I take my time, put it in the garage. Next day, I do another part and another part. But when it's done, there's a certain, I don't know, man, pride and ownership.
Yeah. Satisfaction, level of satisfaction.
100%,
Yeah.
And it's like, so, I think it's important to keep your vehicle clean. I've done it all the time. And to that point, the vehicle that I traded in, the dude was like, "This is 7 years old." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "This is going to be gone like in 2 days because it just." And I didn't do anything.
It don't look it.
I just kept it clean.
Keep it clean. Exactly. Yeah.
During the winter months, I have one of those contracts with a really good car wash locally, brushless, that I go to get, keep the salt off and things of that nature. But I think you're on point. It's very therapeutic. Before I get into mine, I got one question about the art. When you decide that you're doing something, is there a goal? Like, do you sit down through completion, or you just do something till you how long does it take to create something?
It varies. Honestly, most of the time is spent mixing the colors in the paint. I spend more time that than the actual painting in most cases. What I've done as of late too to minimize some of that time is when I mix up. I used to mix up enough for a painting, So if I got 4 or 5, how many colors, I mix enough for that painting. Now what I've started to do is mix, a quart worth or some larger amount, so that when if I get an idea, I don't have to go back and start it from scratch and mix up a whole bunch of paint.
I got
especially if it's colors that I already have,
right.
Just cuts down on the time of the prep time, I should say. And the ideas I get, they can come from anywhere. A friend of mine looked at my website and she was telling me that she said, "I bet some of these were inspired by your scuba diving." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Some of them actually came from, some things I had seen underwater, whatever, and try to recreate that or, my version of that on canvas. The ideas come from anywhere. I've been in bed before and, have been able to sleep and just got up and went downstairs and painted.
That's creativity, man. I'm telling you right now, that is creativity personified, and I like that you can get lost in it. That to me is what makes a hobby significant, I'll say, because there's a lot of things that I think we do that are cool, and they may take some time. We might feel good about them, but I think there's only a few things that you can get that lost in that you don't care about time, you don't care about how long. The level of detail that you put into it is expressed in the paintings, and I think it's a reflection of where you were mentally, emotionally at that very
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
which is
Hmm.
very much, I think, like a photograph, man. Yeah, well
Yeah.
done. I mean,
Yeah, I've gotten to some. I have a notebook, and some nights I'll write notes in there, like what I was thinking, um, what method I used, what music I was listening to,
hmm
what was my beverage of choice that night.
That's
Because
not
I
that
think it's at
that's
some
not an
point,
accident.
those things will play into if I go back and look at them. There you go.
Yeah,
See, you go back
yeah,
and look at those later and say, I created this one when I was thinking this and feeling this kind of way or listening to this kind of music. They have an impact on how I create or what I create, I should say.
yeah. I like it. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't have a lot. I collect sports cards, not like I used to anymore because I used to really get lost in it, man. But then it got pretty diluted with
Mhm.
investors, people who really weren't in it for the game, but they recognized there was money in it.
Right.
And so the companies started, making less and less cards in a pack. I mean, like you might get a pack of cards that got five in it, where back in my day, you'd get a whole stack of them.
Hmm.
And the other thing that changed now is you have to have your cards professionally graded to prevent or to prove that they're not counterfeit. And the downside to that is you pay for that. So although
Okay.
I still collect today, I'm very specific. I go for rookies. You catch a guy
Hmm.
when they're a rookie, the value goes up. I don't have nearly as many. I
Hmm.
have some. They come in these cases, and I'll put a close up on the screen. But there's actually a barcode on here that if you scan it, it tells you the highest rating you can get is a 10. By the way,
Okay.
and it's a lot easier to do that when they are rookies. And I have certain sources that I go to go get them. And I only
Hmm.
tens now for rookies because these are pretty much investments for me now. But back in the day, I'm gonna see if I can share this. I've never tried to do a share on Teams, so let's see if you can see this. If I hit the more button,
It's coming. It says Coach B has started sharing his screen.
okay,
Yep. Okay, I see your screen
okay.
with,
So
with her beautiful self.
so what I'm gonna put up? These are, and I'll make them big.
Okay.
These are a bunch of cards that I had graded,
Oh
and
wow.
as you can see, this one, LB, is
Yeah.
34 years old. And so if
Wow.
you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but it's in a sealed plastic case
That's the
that I
case.
cannot
Yeah.
open. It
Oh
is
wow.
sealed. You ship this
Okay.
away, the company grades it, they seal it, and
Hmm.
then on the back of the card,
Hmm.
you have this little scan code that
Okay.
authenticates it. So if I go to sell it, someone will know
Hmm.
that it's authentic. Same thing
Right.
here. This one was an 8.
Okay.
Remember, we get some crazy ones. I like to get guys doing something off of their sport.
Right. Right.
This one, 31 years old from him when he was golfing. Again, the
Uh-huh.
back will have the grading on all of it. Vince Carter when he
Right.
had hair, right? I mean, a lot of people don't remember that, but I do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so Alonzo Mourning and those cats. This one, Derek Jeter,
Uh-huh.
9 from 1993.
Wow.
Looks like a baby.
Rookie.
Looks
Yes,
like
he
a baby,
does.
right?
Yeah.
And that's his draft card when he was a rookie. And there's another, another one where he's a rookie. So those I've been collecting for a long time. And what I ended up doing was getting those graded. All those ones that I showed on the screen are ones that I keep, and then I got rid of a bunch last year. I took all the ones that didn't get graded.
Mhm.
On average, it can cost anywhere from $25 to $50 to get your card graded,
Graded. Just to get it graded.
just to get it graded. And
Wow.
so you want to make sure, like I've been doing a lot of autograph cards lately. You catch these cats when they're rookies, get the autographs,
Hmm.
pay it, and then hang on to it because it's a very, like I say, very watered down market. I just know what I'm doing because I've been at it for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, Movies, I like movies, but not in the movie theater.
Right.
I like watching movies at home. I have a home theater. It's really more of a screening room, but it's fine tuned to that room. There's only 2 seats in it, and it's optimized for that. It's good for one thing and one thing only. I
Hmm.
probably have about 350, 360 titles, from Blu-ray and 4K because I like to see how it's made. I do all the bonus features after the movie is done. So to your point, I can get lost in that. Video production, what we're doing here, I can get lost doing that as well. produce a couple of podcasts, and a couple of YouTube channels. And then, like LB said, photography. I really enjoy photography. That's probably my biggest hobby. I'm either studying someone, looking at pictures in a book from someone, communicating with someone, or going out and doing something on my own. Just the other day, I had a blast. I went out, and shot some pictures of my youngest grandson doing a baseball scrimmage. And because they're so little, I just stood on the field in right field because none of them could hit that far.
Right.
A great perspective. But I had the camera and was able to get some shots up. So for me, taking pictures, editing, I kind of get immersed in that. It gives me balance. And to your point, LB, I think if you have something that you can get like totally lost in, even if like you said, if you can't sleep at night, for me, I'm not going to get up and start taking pictures, but I will come in here and go to some of my favorite YouTube channels to see what some of the cats are doing and what's going on. Some of it technical, some of it, compositional. It really, has no ebb and flow. It's kind of like what I feel at the time. And, for me, yeah, you're right. Therapeutic is a good word. Because I mean, I've been at it for a while, and I just enjoy doing it. Sometimes some teaching, sometimes some mentoring. I'm a consummate student, though. For me, and it's like with anything else. I think if you want to get better at something, or you're that interested in it, it's the kind of thing I would do without getting paid.
Right. Exactly. 100%. Yeah.
I got a mortgage, so I can't. Pro photography is rough. And so I think that's one of the reasons that I enjoy it so much is because it is a hobby and I can do it whenever I want to.
Right. Yeah. So makes a difference. It makes a difference when you do it because when you want to, you don't have to.
Yeah, that's a huge difference, isn't it? It's just like you said, you stopped doing art for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
No harm, no foul. But when you came back with a like a vengeance. Now you're like, I'm in it. I know what I want to do now, and I know how long I want to do it. So, that's good stuff. So, hopefully, some of the people in the audience, our audience members, learned a little bit about you, what you like, what you do. The same here, and I hope everybody else has something. Whatever it is.
You gotta have something because I have conversations with some people, younger people that we know, and I have that conversation with them all the time. It's like, golf is great. Golf is a great hobby, but you shouldn't have a hobby. You should have hobbies.
Sure.
You should have some multiple things that pique your interest enough that it's not just that one thing. Because I think if you focus in on just one thing, you either become obsessive with it, or at some point, I think the joy gets taken away from it because you don't have anything else to balance that out. All you have is this one thing, and anybody knows. I mean, if you like hot dogs and you eat hot dogs every day, at some point you're not gonna like hot dogs. So that's where I was with golf for a little while. I was hardcore on golf till it was the only thing I thought about, the only thing I did, and now I don't hardly even play golf.
I
did it too
well, maybe
much.
you recognize that somewhere in that process there wasn't joy anymore.
Right.
Not that it became work-like, but the absence of joy to me means, and I know some of the people you're talking about. I'm related to one of them, and it's like you need to understand. You don't get paid for this. You're not a pro, and I'm not saying that to say. Don't pursue what you like.
Right. Don't try and be good.
Right. But you're right about there's a point with which one can become obsessive. And then what do you do? You're on the East Coast and it's wintertime. My God, what do you do from November to March? You know what I mean? So,
right.
I do hope though that people grow into something. And sometimes they may see something that you're doing, ask you about it and say, I may have had an interest in that. Can you tell me something about painting or how would I start? That kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's important, folks. I think it's important, and as you get older, y'all feel the same thing or you'll understand what we're saying. That balance is critical, and how you find your balance is 100% up to you. You cannot look to someone else to find it for you. Somebody else can't own it. And you have to be so comfortable with whatever the thing is that you don't need someone else to do it.
Validate for you. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you. And you got to embrace that and own that. And you're going to find people that don't understand. You know, people like, God, you're a grown ass man. Why you collect cards? Why are you worried about that? You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of stuff. Don't trip. You know, why aren't you collecting cards? So if you can own it, then it's a true hobby. If you don't, then you're kind of just skipping around trying to please others, which is that could be a whole nother topic on a podcast about how you find yourself in believing in oneself and not necessarily chasing whatever the hell you think somebody else wants you to be, because you will never catch that. You know, and to LB's point, you will have no joy. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something. Again, you know, we had 2 cats out, but I think the 2 of us that were here held it down.
Yeah,
appreciate
we did a good job.
LB, for joining while you're on the road. Before we get out, man, you got something to say?
No, I wish I did.
I know he had some.
I was hoping it would come back to me. I had one, folks, but it left me. It's a senior moment, and now I can't think of. I'm sure to come to me tonight, later on, or tomorrow when I'm driving home. That's what it was.
To be fair, I honestly, like, you talked about, you know, how you put stuff in the journal, and I do that too. I started doing that with some of my I got something to say. If it's important enough to me, it hits me on the weekend, I just write it down. Like last week when I talked about announcing, I was like, I'm gonna write that down, and all I need is a word to help
trigger it.
Help trigger it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have anything today either, and I think that's cool. We will catch up with the fellas next week. We'll catch up with our audience next week. Hopefully you guys are having a great week and an even better weekend. As always, we thank you guys for joining. We're out.